Dan Henderson with us here, getting ready for a Strikeforce card. Now, he's not fighting on this card. We'll break down a couple of the fights with Dan here in a second, but he's the latest big signee, and maybe the biggest outside of Fedor that they've had this year. So, again, explain to the audience in Vegas, because they saw you the last couple of years in UFC. Why did you make the switch?
It wasn't just any one thing. There was a lot of aspects that played into coming, but I know a huge part of why I'm here is just Strikeforce's relationship with Showtime and CBS, and that's big for the sport and definitely enticing and it's going to bring a lot of new fans to the sport. So I'd love to be a part of that.
Does it also bring potentially more of the outside dollars to you if you're on network TV?
It could. I don't know. We're gonna be exploring that in the next few months. I'd imagine yes that. And I don't have handcuffs on as far as who I can have sponsoring me. So
right.
It's pretty much wide open and no red tape to cut through.
And we should explain UFC, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, but they have an approach more like the NFL where they kind of control the rights of everything. And if they're going to bring in partners, that's what you're going to wear. That's who you're going to promote. Now, you have
except for the fact that the NFL distributes some of that money with the players.
It's a good point. You guys don't get to share in it.
Right.
All right. Active complaint by a lot of guys, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You've got the hat on right now, Clinch Gear. Now, do you own that, or is it an affiliation with those guys?
No, it's my brand. I own it.
All right. Now, you were not allowed to push that.
They had banned it about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
About 3-4 weeks before I signed with Strikeforce, they banned it, trying to put some pressure on me, and it only made me chuckle.
Did it push you away? Even more?
No, it didn't have anything to do with it. I knew that had I re-signed, it would have been resolved, and if not, it's just funny, when somebody says that no hard feelings, nothing personal, it's all business, and then they do that as well. It seems a little bit personal.
And the person who said no hard feelings was Dana White. Now, I sat in front of Dana at the last event in Memphis last weekend, and he was saying that you guys had a conversation the day you signed. It didn't sound like a very pleasant conversation. That it became official that you went to Strikeforce.
You mean I called Dana to ask him or to tell him that I'd signed?
Uh-huh.
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
He told me I wouldn't like him for the next few months.
Okay.
But beyond that, I don't take anything personally.
Is he doing it for effect, or is he really angry with you? Because he said he knows where we stand, and then he also threw out the line that he won't be coming back to the UFC. He'll be retiring over there. Is that for effect, or is he really pissed?
Who knows? He didn't say that to me, but he's. I think the fans have grown to know how he is and who he is, and they respect the fact that he's done a lot for the sport. But I think he's also holding back the sport in a lot of ways as well, and he's very emotional and says a lot of things emotionally that he probably doesn't need to say, and I don't take it personally. Really, it's all business to me, and I definitely called him up to thank him for the opportunities he gave me and everything else. So
that's Dan Henderson. He's now with Strikeforce. He was a UFC fighter before that. Well, way before that, he was a UFC fighter as well, and then fought in Japan for a long time under the Pride banner. So list a couple of things that he's holding back. What do you think he's holding back in terms of growing the sport? Just trying to put down every other organization that throws fights and tries to bury them. I think that every organization out there is good for the sport. Competition's always good, and every organization, every promotion is going to bring new fans to the sport. In one level or another. Obviously, the UFC's done probably the biggest strides in bringing more fans and growing the sport, but every organization helps, and when you try and bury them, it just it makes the process a little slower. I guess from their business model, though, if they have no competition, then it does make it easier for them. You're saying it actually takes away.
I think that Pride definitely brought new fans to the sport, and not saying they buried them, but they bought them and shut it down, and Affliction and a bunch of the other shows, they definitely added fans to the sport, and they're not around anymore. And, a big reason is probably
the UFC, bullying them around or trying to put a card on the same day. You know, I think that there's room for everybody out there, and the UFC they definitely want to control everything and be the big dog.
That's Dan Henderson joining us here in San Jose. So, in your mind, was it money, or did they really believe you weren't marketable? Because you couldn't have done more in July to put yourself in a position for a rematch against Anderson Silva. I mean, you knocked the guy out, you blasted him out, a highlight reel type knockout against Michael Bisping. What else did you need to do? You were told that you were getting a title shot, and then all of a sudden the idea comes out that let's have a qualifier fight to get the title shot. So was it money, or did you really believe that you weren't marketable? Are you a boring fighter?
Who knows? I think that maybe I am boring because I didn't make the best of 09 on the Spike UFC Spike.
I didn't
show.
notice that. I guess
I didn't watch it, but I was told that, and I guess and I'm erased off of their website like I never existed to them. So it all makes me chuckle. Who knows what value I should be getting, but I think that they had one idea of how much I should be getting paid, and I had another, and that was basically it. And it wasn't just all about the money either.